Hi everyone. I wanted to start a video series tutorial on how to make the little tag booklets like I made in a box just like this over Christmas, and I wanted to get to it earlier, but it just couldn't come together before Christmas with all of the Christmas things to do and shopping and mother-in-law in from out of town, but I'm sure y'all understand that. Anyway, so we're going to get started on this. I'm not sure exactly how many videos are going to be in the series, but we're going to go through until we finish it. And so these are the little boxes. Now I picked these up at the Dollar Tree, so they were $1. And what I like about these boxes is they're nice and they're heavy duty and they're made of bookboard, a nice thick, even like a heavyweight chipboard. And they've got a full lining on there, and so I like using these because it saves me a ton of work of making a box, and especially a pitched roof, which can be a little bit of a pain in the hiney. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this box, and we are going to make the little tags that go in it that are kind of house shaped, if you will. And so those are going to slide right in there, and this is going to close up over top of them. And so you're going to have a little album that you can pull out one at a time, and you can decorate up the front and on the inside. And you've got actually you end up having with a box this size, which is it's about 4 5/8 square. Yeah, it's about 4.5, 4 5/8 square. And you end up having even more room in this than you would in a typical mini album as far as journaling spots, because these are not just tags, they're booklet tags. So there's lots of space in here. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and I'll show you how to start the tags. So what I do is I take a piece of chipboard, and this one I think is cut to 4 by 6. I'm sorry, this is 4 1/4 by 6 is what I cut this chipboard. And this is medium weight chipboard, but you could use like the back of a cardstock pack, which is kind of thin. But really what we're doing here is we're making a template. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up on here, and what we want to do is we want to bring it about in the center, 1/8 of an inch from the from either side, and then about 1/4 inch up, right? And this is with the top on there tight. And from here, we are going to trace. If you can see, I'm going to use a white pen here, pencil rather, and we're going to cut it large. Basically, what you can do to find out what your piece needs to be, your chipboard piece needs to be compared to your box, is you want to come down, I think it's about 1/2 inch. So we're measuring here at 6 1/4, and I measured this at 6. So about 1/4 inch less, and then we'll probably shave it down from there. Okay, so you see when we put this on here and we bring it up, then we've got our lines that kind of match up with these sides here. And so what we're going to do is I want to bring this to a point. So I am going to mark my point. And the reason why I draw these on here is because these little pitches on these are not necessarily equal. So what we're going to do is we're going to make our center point right about there. And then I am going to, I'll just do this by hand. Let's scoot this over. And if you don't have a cutter that can go through chipboard, you can always use one of these little mini box cutters. Make sure you put on your safety there. Oops, not out. There we go. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure. I'm going to bring this in just slightly underneath there. I don't know if y'all can see that. Let me zoom in a little. Okay, so that was a little high, so I'm going to bring it right to that center point that I marked. And I'm going to bring it a little lower than where that line was, because that was above the box and we want to go inside the box. So we're going to start at that point and we're going to angle it down. Actually, we're going to angle it at the same distance. We're going to follow that line. So I'm just going to cut through this. And remember not to try to cut through your chipboard in one swoop. It's something that you want to cut away the layers at. You don't want to cut off your finger. So I usually take anywhere from 3 to 5 swipes in order to cut through chipboard. So I'm never in any hurry, because that's how you lose a tip of a finger. So be careful with your box cutters. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to measure it up here, and it looks pretty good. There we go. It looks pretty good. We're about equal distance in there. Now let's go ahead and make sure that it fits. So it's in there. Let's make sure that while it's all the way back, that top still goes on there. All the way down. Let's see. Is it going all the way? I think so. I think it is. Let me make sure. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. I'm pretty sure that it is. Sometimes it's hard to tell. Let me go ahead and test it out one more time. Yeah, that should be fitting just fine. Yeah, that'll do just fine. Okay, so I've already got one cut out that I've been using, and what we're going to do is, this is actually this one. I think I made it a little bit smaller. No, it's about the same. It's about the same. I'm out of camera. Let me zoom out. Let's see. All right, so what we've done here is, what I've done is I have taken, this piece is, here we go. We've got 8.5, and this one is 5 5/8 by 8.5, and then I've scored it at 4 1/4 down the center and folded it over. And then what I'll do is I will hold this up, and I'm measuring it to fit this piece of chipboard here. And so what I'm going to do is I don't even mark it. I just line it up on the bottom with the chipboard here, and then I just use some, if you want to do long straight cuts, larger shears are going to give you a better, straighter, long cut. They're not, use your detail scissors for just that, for detail. If you want to make long straight cuts, you need long shears. So I'm just going to use that, and I'm going to trace it. And there you go. How easy is that? So there's our booklet shape, and we go through and do lots of those. And here I'll do one more. So we'll just line it up. I've got my, always make sure your crease is on the same side. And I mark which side is up, because these are not necessarily the same angles. Because the house is not necessarily geometrically perfect. So I always make sure that my fold's on this side and this side is facing up. So even if I get interrupted and I have to come back to it a later time, I know which direction to cut mine. So it's easy as that. And so we've got a couple booklets, and I think we're going to do 12 in here. Here's another way. Let's see, now we need to, once we've got our booklets, we need to cut the pieces for our insert. Oops, dropped it. So I've taken a contrasting piece of chipboard that I've already cut to fit, and basically you can see what I did. I made it equal distance-ish of the inside of this black, so because I want the black border. So what I did again is I cut the same piece of the 4 1/4 by 6, and so what I would do, and this is using that lightweight chipboard, you can go ahead and mark it. And this side, let's see, that is not up. So this side would be up because that side's up. So what we're going to do is trim that off. And again, if this is chipboard, then you can use the mini cutter. So what we're going to do here is we are going to trim off 1/8 of an inch off each side, and we're going to go ahead and take off 1/4 inch off of the bottom. So I'm going to do that on my cutter. Let me go ahead and bring my cutter over here. I'm going to use the Precision, which is a little big, but it does give a nice cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to take off 1/8 of an inch off of that side, flip it over, and take off about 1/8 of an inch. And then down here, we're going to take off about 1/4 inch. So there's that. And let's go ahead and measure these. We've got both of our ups. And let's go ahead and look and see. And you just kind of eyeball it. You know, you take the smallest amount off. So that's a pretty good fit. That's a nice little border. So this is going to be our template for, this is our template for our booklets. And this is going to be the template for our pattern paper. And so what we'll do is we will take our pattern paper, and which is actually a little smaller than this. So I'm going to, my other template was slightly smaller. So there we go. You're going to cut your pattern paper to fit the same dimensions in the width and the height to the pitch on your template. We're going to put our up sides up. We're going to measure it, and we're going to do exactly the same as we did with our booklets. And there you go. And so that's going to go here. And all we've got to do is, and of course, you know, if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I'm a glue user because I like my things to, I want them to last as long as possible. I don't want them to pull up over time. Okay, whoops, I am trying to glue that to the template. Here is one of my booklets. All right, and so there we go. And we're going to glue that on there. And so we've got a nice border on there. And then what we're going to do, I'm making a mess. Let me scoop my mess out of the way. And we are going to take our crocodile, or, you know, if you have a hole punch, what I am doing is, this isn't just random. This is what's going to fit my little eyelets. But you don't even have to have eyelets. If you have a regular hole punch and you just want to do ribbon or materials through the top of it, you can do that. So what I'm going to do is, if you can see, I'm going to come through, and just right after the tip of that, I'm using the small one, just right there. And I didn't get it super centered, but it'll be just fine. So I'm using these tiny little eyelets here, and I'm using white ones. And I have, because these are small, I have this set to 1 and B on my crocodile. This side has the 1 on it, and this side has the B on it. So sometimes you just have to test it out with your crocodile to find out which combo works, or you can look it up online. So I'm just going to squeeze that down, and there we go. We've set our eyelet, and it's squished on the back. And so there's our little eyelet in there. Can you see that? It's not focusing. That's not too terribly bad. But there's our little eyelet. And so what we're going to do is we're going to, you have to make sure you get your pattern paper on before you before you add your eyelet. And then we're going to do one for the inside, and of course the inside is the same dimension. So we're going to use our template. We're going to make a quick cut and a quick cut. And then, ooh, that's a little too matchy-matchy, isn't it? Okay, maybe we need to do a lighter, how about this one on the inside? That's better. I don't want it to match too much. I like a little bit of contrast. And let's go and cut it again. There you go. And we will glue. And I'm also going to do, since I'm so late on this, I'm going to do a Valentine's version of this, and we're going to redecorate that Christmas box Valentine's style. So there's our inside. Now, if you'd like to, you can add journaling over here. I'm going to leave this for journaling, and I'm probably going to stamp with some white, Hampton Art white pigment ink over here for some journaling lines. But if you wanted to add pattern paper, you could over here as well. But I would go ahead, if you're going to do that, make sure you add that before you add your eyelet, so that your eyelet goes all the way through both pieces. And again, on the back, you could add another piece back here. So whatever you'd like. And to finish this off, we can go ahead and I usually take a small enough ribbon. I don't like to have to force it through with tools and whatnot, so I usually pick a ribbon that will easily fit through the eyelet that I'm using. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take about, I don't know, about 3.5 inches of this. Just a piece, well, actually that's at least 4 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and feed this through. Each side, I'm going to feed through. All Butterfingers here. So I'm going to feed that through. Yikes, I almost went all the way. We'll pull that back a little bit. There we go. We're going to bring our loop up here. And we're going to put our two little tails back through that loop and give a pull. I'm sure y'all probably know that and better ways to do it even. But that's the way I did the last one, so I thought I'd show you. And then I'm just going to go ahead and angle my little pieces here. And if you wanted to, you could add a little bit of bling, a little rhinestone in the center. If your ribbons start coming loose, just add on the back side, add a tiny bit of a little dab of glue and let it dry. And that'll keep it from pulling out. So we've already got, let's see, we've already got a couple of them ready. So we've got one, and we've got two. And here's another one without its ribbon. And so you can see how this is coming along. Isn't that cute? So that's how you make the little tag booklets, and that was actually very quick. And so I will come back, and I have another tutorial I'm going to show you, and it's going to be how to make the accordion book that goes inside the Altoid tin. Only difference is that I'm using a different kind of tin. So that will be the next tutorial. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, let me know.